Beepity beepity bop boop.
Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Sony A7IV's ISO capabilities. And it's not going to be in a very scientific way or technical way, because I don't fully have the understanding of that. I know it's a dual native ISO capabilities camera, and that's about it. Basically, when you up your ISO, the higher value ISO number you have, the less dynamic range you get, also less quality you get. But in some instances, like for example in this camera, you have two native base ISO values, which means those are those values you get the most quality and dynamic range from. Right, so let's travel over to South Korea. So the first image is ISO 100, and then we have the last one, which is ISO 64000. Now, ISO 64000 isn't something you necessarily will be using, but just fun to try. This is ISO 100, the base native ISO and the lowest value you can go. So this is the ISO where you have the best dynamic range and quality. So as you can see, there's not any noise, the image is sharp and good, quality is great, and everything is just fine on ISO 100. And let's dive over to ISO 800. This is where you can already see some noise in the sky and on the building. But the sharpness is still good, it's still pretty good quality. I would definitely keep using ISO 800 on evening shots. Like, difference is marginal, and the little bit of noise you have here is something you can just get rid of in Lightroom. So let's dive over to ISO 1600 and let's have a look here. So a little bit more of noise, but the sharpness is still there, quality is still there. I would definitely use ISO 1600, and again you can just get rid of it with a little bit of noise reduction. Next up is 3200, and here you can clearly see a little bit more noise, and again you can just use some denoise to get rid of the worst kind of noise and then edit the sharpness and everything up. So it's not too bad here. 6400 is a bit, I don't know, I wouldn't say extreme for the modern cameras, but it's where you start seeing the quality and sharpness actually disappear a little bit. And I would use ISO 6400, but it's not something I would highly recommend, as you can see that the sharpness is basically gone. It's just a mush right now, but for social media and everything like that, it works perfectly fine. Having said that, if the only way you can get the best picture is by raising your ISO, raise the ISO. Don't be afraid of noise, get the image, that is the most important part. So ISO 8000, I used that on the Sony A7IV, and the picture was actually pretty nice. It's quite a lot of noise reduction, but it was fine. And again, like, it goes to say what I was saying, that the quality is now is worse right now, but I would still use ISO 8000 in the extreme cases. Now let's jump over to 12800. Again, this is where you normally wouldn't use this kind of ISO values because of the lack of sharpness and dynamic range. 20,000 just for the fun of it. This is really bad. You can barely see the branches here. It's really, really grainy. 32,000, yeah. And 51,000, I mean, if the case needs it, yeah, I would use it, because it's not that bad. I mean, the sharpness is all gone and it's not that good, but you can still make out the stones in the river, you can still make out the people, you can still see the tree, like the most of the branches and the windows in skyscrapers and everything. But other than that, I would definitely not use ISO 51200. It's not the best. Right, so the denoise is finished. So let's have a look. It's definitely sharper. It's done some weird stuff here, but you can make out the branches a little bit better here. The quality in itself looks a bit better. I wouldn't say it's usable in a professional way, but I mean, that's not the worst. Thinking that this is ISO 51200, there you have it, of my very unscientific and very untechnical video of the ISO range of the Sony A7IV. And I think I can conclude that the ISO capabilities of this magnificent camera is actually very, very good. In the worst case, extreme case, I would actually use ISO 51200 and just apply some noise reduction. I'm not saying you should run around using the highest ISO value as possible, because that is going to take a toll on your quality, sharpness and dynamic range. But don't be afraid of high ISO values. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and until next time, happy shooting and happy hunting. I'm like, just